Thanks, John. Thank you, QED and John, Adam, for the invitation and the opportunity to talk to you and to the group today about Citi and our view of the mobile payments landscape. I think in context of some of the conversations and the panel, I'm here to bring a bit of a business view and perspective to the legislative environment and the payments environment and marketplace here in EMEA. A plug for Citi. We're here in EMEA, a bank of 200 years of doing business with our customers. Currently, we are operating in 21 EU markets and have a presence in 54 EMEA markets across the region and operate across 61. We remain committed to the region through our various business lines, including consumer retail bank, which is where I work, as well as our private bank and our institutional clients group. Through our ICG business, we work with and have customers with 90% of the FTSE 100 doing business here in the market. So very important market for us. On the payments side, if we maybe go to the next slide. Is that me or? Here we go. On the payment side, obviously the context that we're talking about today is in terms of EMEA. This is a phenomenon, mobile payments, that we're seeing across the world. Lots that is going on in different regions, Africa and Asia. A lot of disruptors and innovation coming out of North America. And here in EMEA as well, there's been a lot of developments and changes, new players entering the market, and varying degrees across these markets, varying degrees of mobile payments and mobile payment models that have been introduced in technology. Particularly in Eastern Europe, a lot of innovation and interesting activities that are taking place there. Europe remains quite significant and large market across the globe relative to some of the other regions, and e-commerce is an important area of growth. From sort of giving a little bit of historical perspective, I guess as Citibank representing maybe a traditional financial institution and an incumbent that's been in the payments processing business for many years. The market is evolved, as we all recognize and know. It's no longer payments that are limited to the networks and to financial institutions, but there have been many new players that have come into the market, from telecom companies, technology companies, banks and processors, and internet players, as well as merchants. And I think all of them have seen a potential opportunity as the internet has taken off, as e-commerce and payments have developed. I think everyone is looking at this as a very exciting, new and growing marketplace, but also trying to figure out where their place might be within the context of that, and how do all of these parties participate in the marketplace. If I go on to the next slide. This was an interesting graphic that I had come across from Capgemini that just sort of shows the sort of the innovation waves. There's been a lot of discussion about innovation within the marketplace, and this is one way of looking at it across the payment space. And if you go back to the early 50s and 60s with the introductions of credit cards and ATMs and online banking, those were innovations focused perhaps on customer solutions with maybe a more customer focus, as opposed to cost efficiencies or internal processing efficiencies. And that took place over the last 30, 40 years. And 15, 20 years ago, with the development of PayPal, the prevalence and growth of the internet, and the introduction of alternative types of technology and access, that has spurred a sort of second wave of innovation within the payment space. Again, that's providing great opportunities to the players and to to the stakeholders. It does provide a certain degree, I guess, of uncertainty in terms of what is going to predominate as a business model or as a technology, and what is it ultimately that our consumers are looking for. So sometimes I think you can look at this and see or ask the question, what are we trying to solve for in terms of the consumer value prop and use case, which ultimately all of us, I think that is what we want to be focused on. There's a lot of texts and boxes on here, so apologies. I guess this will lead into a little bit of a discussion around the players. I guess this is probably well known since most of us are represented here, but there are the traditional financial institutions and banks. They have grown up and operated within the payments landscape, sort of at the center of that, and have looked at ways to adapt their solutions and their products through some of the technology and innovation that we're experiencing in the market. You have telecom companies that have come in and are looking at ways to use and leverage their infrastructure, device, and customer bases to deliver value-added services. And how they can, potentially monetize that. You also have the payment networks who, have built the infrastructure and set some of the guidelines and the relationships amongst the stakeholders and players, and that obviously is at the center of some of the legislation and discussion around PSD 1 and 2. And you also have merchants who have been driving a lot of the change and innovation, particularly around interchange. But from a customer perspective, how can they deliver value to their customers, manage their costs? How can they differentiate themselves? Companies like Starbucks that are trying to leverage point of sale and loyalty, and to see how they can bring the convergence of that through a mobile app that allows for purchases to be made at point of sale, and also to provide a differentiated consumer experience. Then this sort of leads into what what's the business model? I think that's a fundamental question, and perhaps not certainly agreed or defined, or necessarily known. I think here again we've got a number of players and stakeholders that are involved in the payment space, and I guess one approach, which is part of the reason that we're here this afternoon, is how can we collaborate and leverage amongst ourselves with the various players, but at the same time making sure we've got a clear set of guidelines, roles, responsibilities, and protections and security around the payment networks and for our consumers. So I think a collaborative model is probably the best approach to take. What form that is, I guess, is evolving. And then, lastly, I think maybe more directly in the context of the PSD2 discussion and the harmonization within EMEA, again, well known that there's a significant transformation and disruption that's taking place in the payments landscape. That's providing a lot of opportunity for new players to come into the marketplace. It's providing some opportunities and perhaps challenges to some of the incumbents and traditional financial institutions. I think that opportunity is yet to be defined, as we're not sure what ultimately consumers may want or what might be the prevailing or winning type of customer experience or product or service that we can provide, and through what form. But certainly there is great interest from consumers and wanting to take advantages of some of these, and also to perhaps avoid some of the frictions and disharmony that may exist across EMEA as and the EU as a region. I think also, it's been pointed out, security is probably most important when it comes to mobile and e-commerce payments for customers and for our clients, and we need to make sure that we can ensure that that continues under any framework. And I guess lastly, I've put at the bottom here some of the key points of interest from the respective parties and stakeholders that are within the mobile payments chain. I think we've highlighted many of these, and I guess the goal of the the legislation and the dialogue that's going on here is to how to bring some harmony and consistency and transparency to the mobile payments space to deliver a valuable solution to our customers.